Hey, what's up, guys? So, I have some super exciting Star Wars news. It was announced the other day that Ubisoft is making an open world Star Wars game. So, man, I have so many things to say about this. So, let's go ahead and get into what they said. This was published in an article on Wired. I'll go ahead and link that down below. Today, Lucasfilm Games announced that it's entering a partnership with Ubisoft to create an open world Star Wars game. The title will be developed by Ubisoft's Massive Entertainment, marking the first time that a company outside of EA has produced a Star Wars game since Disney acquired Lucasfilm in 2012, ending nearly 8 years of exclusivity. Also in the works is a new Indiana Jones game to be developed by Bethesda Game Studios, a newcomer to Lucasfilm's and Disney's properties. Okay, so that is huge. Disney is finally getting fed up with EA. Let's start with Star Wars. Development on this title is still very early. Massive is still recruiting for the project even, so details are sparse. Julian Garrity, did I say that right? Garrity? Okay. Director of The Division 2 and the crew will serve as the game's creative director. And the title will use Massive Snowdrop Engine. Okay, so I don't know anything about the Snowdrop Engine. I'm assuming that's what The Division uses. But beyond that, Lucasfilm Games hasn't revealed anything about the characters or the settings within the Star Wars universe that the game will feature. Okay, I mean, well, that's expected whenever you haven't even started the game yet. You know what I mean? I'm sure they're still deciding all those things. EA has previously suggested that the company would have exclusivity on Star Wars games for 10 years. Yeah, well, thank God that's over. While EA will keep making games in the future, but Lucasfilm Games is free to seek other partners. It's also possible, even likely, that the upcoming Ubisoft Star Wars game will launch after the EA exclusivity agreement ends in about 2 years. Okay, so that does make a lot of sense. I mean, if they're still hiring people to do this, I mean, there's no way that they pump this game out in 2 years, especially if it's an open world game, a game with options, a game with dialogue choices, a game with, linear games, you can pump them out a little faster. But yeah, I would definitely say, nah, there's no way. Yeah, there's no way they're getting that out that quick. EA has been and will continue to be a very strategic and important partner for us now and going forward. Sean Shoptaw, Senior Vice President of Global Games and Interactive Experiences at Disney, told Wired. But we did feel like there's room for others. I absolutely agree with you. Yes, completely. After this story initially published, an EA spokesperson reached out to Wired to provide the following statement. We are proud of our long-standing collaboration with Lucasfilm Games, which will continue for years to come. Our talented teams have created some of the most successful games in history of the Star Wars franchise, including Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and Star Wars Squadrons. We love Star Wars and we look forward to creating more exciting experiences for players to enjoy. Okay, so I feel like what they really mean there, obviously EA is going to make Jedi Fallen Order 2. That's definitely happening. And to be honest, I'm pretty happy with Battlefront 2. It wasn't what we wanted it to be at first. I think everybody knows about the controversy there. But really, the place to where it's gotten, especially for free, is a wonderful, wonderful game. I haven't played Squadrons. I know it's a hit. And Galaxy of Heroes, I'm sorry, I just don't play mobile games. That's just not my thing. I can't do it. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's the best that they can say. What do you expect them to say? Yeah, I mean, yeah, fuck Lucasfilm for cutting off our 10 years or whatever. Like, they got a good 8 years out of it. So I think this is a good thing. I think they're going in a right step. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back. However, in the years past, the EA exclusivity deal has been criticized as a bottleneck to that goal. Aside from a few small mobile and VR games, the number of major Star Wars games from EA since 2013 can be counted on one hand. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. By allowing more developers to bring in their ideas for games, Lucasfilm hopes to diversify the titles it offers and engage more deeply in the collaborative design and development process. The Star Wars Galaxy is an amazing source of motivation for our teams to innovate and push the boundaries of our medium. Building new worlds, characters, and stories that would become lasting parts of the Star Wars lore is an incredible opportunity for us. And we are excited to have our Ubisoft Massive Studio working closely with Lucasfilm Games to create an original Star Wars adventure that is different from anything that has been done before. Okay, are they just telling us what we want to hear? Or I like where this is going. I think if you look at the games landscape, it's such a diverse population of folks across the world that make games, Shanta explains. For us to go and capture the amount of quality that exists in the world and be fast to market, it would be a big challenge for us to do that internally. Yeah. I mean, even for as big of a company that EA was, that's kind of a bold, that's a really bold goal for them to make all Star Wars games. Like, not even just any games in a genre, not even any, one IP. It's for you to handle all of Star Wars. I mean, even if EA was the company that we wanted EA to be, I don't know if they could have pulled that off. Just like with past EA games, any of the new Star Wars games will be part of the same Star Wars canon and continuity shared across all movies and TV shows produced since the Disney acquisition. James Waugh, Lucasfilm's VP of Franchise Content and Strategy, explains that while this means that games won't always connect directly to other content in other media, the possibility is still on the table. I think where people get tripped up on is that sometimes they think, oh, it has to be connected to everything else, and that's not necessarily what we're always saying, Waugh told Wired. That will happen if it's right for the story. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Like, I'm not even going to add on that, just thank you. Yes, that is the appropriate way to go about future Star Wars content. Do it right, not do it what you think it needs to be. Yes, I agree. This new non-exclusive Star Wars arrangement for Star Wars games, as well as the rest of Lucasfilm's library of franchises, leaves the open door for developers to pitch their own ideas for stories to Lucasfilm games. We get no shortage of folks knocking on our door wanting to play with our toys, Douglas Riley, VP of Lucasfilm Games, told Wired. Of course, these franchises are still, in Riley's words, Lucasfilm's toys, and they want to play with them too. But ultimately, we have final approval over everything, Riley explained. While developers, including but no longer exclusively at EA, may have the freedom to pitch ideas for stories to the company, those developers will still be playing inside of the Disney Playhouse, and will work closely with Lucasfilm Games to bring those ideas to life. Okay, so I want to say that I'm a little alarmed by that, but I'm not by everything that they said beforehand. Yeah, maybe that's just their way of wording that nobody's going to go rogue and make their own story. I think that means if we're not getting any freaking Dark Souls Star Wars game or anything like that, I think we're not getting anything super dark if they're going to go ahead and keep it that way, like at Disney. But just because it's not super dark doesn't mean it's not super good. I'll take that with a grain of salt. And maybe I'm just reading more into that than what they're talking about. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and see. Yeah, we'll go ahead and move on. As we look to the next 50 years of Lucasfilm, we look forward to continuing the wonderful legacy in games, which has introduced so many memorable characters and stories. These new collaborations will allow Lucasfilm Games to pursue fresh and exciting directions in the storytelling of Star Wars and Indiana Jones in imaginative and different ways than those explored by our films. Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm. Look, I don't care. As long as you stay away from it, lady, that's all I care about. I do feel like that did say what I want to say as far as the different directions by the films. That maybe we can go darker. Maybe I'm just crazy and really like really dark Star Wars content. Kathleen, go away. A single story-driven game can take up to dozens of hours. An open-world game, like the kind Ubisoft is making with Lucasfilm Games, can potentially push into the hundreds of hours, depending on how long a player wants to explore. Dude, absolutely. Absolutely, I will take it. That really leans into why we're doing what we're doing, because these are the massive entertainment experiences that can last many hours and are much longer than a film, Choctaw explained. Look, this is why I've always preferred video games over movies, and I've always preferred TV shows over movies and video games over TV shows. It's because I feel like you can really dive in and get the kind of deep content. You can just, it's so many hours that I feel like you can tell a longer, bolder story than the average movie can. Sometimes, you get a movie that does it right, the original trilogy, and sometimes that you get the Rise of Skywalker, and you just don't have enough hours to tell everything that's going on. But yeah, they're completely right there. So back to what he was saying, when people are paying $70, they're paying good amounts of money to spend time with your content and play your game. Choctaw continued, you've got to reward that investment. Okay, yeah. Yes, you do. And I appreciate this guy saying that. I do. Whether you feel like you're relaxing at the end of the day by watching a TV show or picking up the controller to play a game, Lucasfilm will have something to keep you entertained. And by opening the door to third-party developers, many of whom are staffed by people who grew up with the franchises like Star Wars and Indiana Jones, the company will never run out of ideas from across the industry to bring under its tent. Okay, so that's good. That's good to wrap the whole thing up. I'm impressed. I know this is just a quote. I know that's what they're supposed to say, but bravo. Yeah, I think well done. I hope that they're bringing the right people to do these things. But really, that kind of leaves us with what question is, what do you guys think they're going to make? What kind of game do you think they're going to make? I've thought about this for a little while. To me, it's probably going to be a game that none of us can predict. But if I had to predict a game, I would bet on Star Wars 1313. I would bet on either loosely inspired by Star Wars 1313 or something like that. Okay, so why do I think it's going to be Star Wars 1313? For a lot of you guys who don't know, Star Wars 1313, which I'm saying it a lot, it was a game where you would play an anonymous bounty hunter. You would play on level 1313 in Coruscant, and shortly after, he was actually going to be killed. And it turns out he was killed by Boba Fett. I mean, then you would take over Boba Fett, and he was essentially the main player of the game. It was an open world. I think it was an open world. I could be wrong about that. But essentially, you play as him, and you wander around Coruscant killing people and doing bounty hunter things. And I really feel like it's kind of appropriate. It's kind of appropriate to announce the game now, and it's kind of appropriate for the timeline of when this game would come out. Obviously, a lot of you guys know that Boba Fett came back in season 2 of The Mandalorian, which was totally freaking awesome. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It's freaking awesome. But yeah, so basically Boba Fett has came back. Boba Fett has got his own TV show. So both these things have happened. Mando is a bounty hunter. So I think if they're not going to give us the Star Wars 1313 about Boba Fett, I feel like it's going to be an open world bounty hunter kind of game. And Ubisoft also has, they've got a similar kind of game. The game you guys might have heard of, it's called Assassin's Creed. So I really think that we're going to get a Star Wars type Assassin's Creed. I really feel like that's exactly what they're going for. And, I mean, that's literally what a bounty hunter is. He's an assassin. I mean, if you even want to talk about the Creed and the Brotherhood in Assassin's Creed, I mean, you literally have the Mandalorians. So I feel like the dots kind of connect. That's the similarities between the two. And, the game that they make could have nothing to do with any of this. I mean, for all we know, it could be Knights of the Old Republic 3. It's not going to be Knights of the Old Republic 3. It's not. That would make sense. Even though I would love that. I think anyone that owns any kind of console or video gaming, anybody with an internet connection would love Knights of the Old Republic 3. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen as much as we want it to. And rightfully so. I think that Disney's kind of learned from their sequel trilogy thing. And I think that they're not going to burn that one yet. I think that whenever they do that era, they're going to get it right. I hope so. I think they're going to get it right. And they're going to have the kind of respect for that amazing era of Star Wars. And so I do hope that we, at some point, get KOTOR 3. But I don't think that's where Ubisoft is going. I don't think that's where they're at right now. But I definitely think the Bounty Hunter, Assassin's Creed, Star Wars, something like that. But who knows? I mean, it could be anything. It could be something there. It's an open world that only has one world. We could have 10 worlds. We could be anybody doing anything. And honestly, it's probably going to be something that we haven't thought of before, which ends up being a good thing. Because you always want to have new experiences. You don't want to just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Unless we're talking about Star Wars. Then then you want to do that all day. But yeah, so that's kind of what I think is going to happen. Man, let me know in the comments, man. What do you guys think is going to happen? Like, what kind of game do you think they're going to make? How long do you think it's going to take for it to come out? Yeah, and not just which one you think they're going to make. Let me know which game you guys want to see. What kind of open world game would you want? What kind of open world game would you make in the Star Wars universe? And and you can let me know why too. I'd love to chat with you guys and see where it goes. But yeah, I think that's it for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. If you've been here, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Like, subscribe if you guys want to see more stuff. Obviously, the first Star Wars oriented video, I'm working on it. So I'm excited. I'm excited. We'll keep this thing going. Yeah, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.
Nice strategy, by the way. You managed to wreck both ships at once.
Quit your bitching and get in here.